Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Doing business and life with a purpose. Serving others and achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to learn how to do business, and more importantly to me, live life to make an impact in the world. I want you to think about, while you're listening to my incredible guest today, how will you serve today, and what impact will you create today? And I want to really thank my sponsors, BrainShare.us, build a business that works without you. Discover how to create a self-sustaining business that thrives even in your absence. You can have a business that doesn't tie you down. We'll guide you to the steps to build an enterprise that operates smoothly without your constant oversight. Visit BrainShare.us to learn how to set the foundations for a business that stands the test of time. With BrainShare Business Mentors, you can build a business that works without you. And PitchDB.com. Successfully connect with over 11,000 conferences to be a guest speaker, 3 million podcasts to be a guest on the podcast, and now build your thought leader platform like it's done for me and scale your business. Increase your network, increase your net worth. I am so excited because this is somebody that I've met in a networking group, but she goes deeper than most people because she talks about the soul. Carol, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Talk about soul for me. That's a big word. It goes many ways. What's your description or definition of soul?
It certainly does. For me, the nature of soul is the foundation of who we truly are. It permeates everything that we do and how we present ourselves to the world. And when we are not connected to that, and when we are not in alignment with that, we are conflicted throughout our whole life. So when we don't nurture that and we don't feel that we're in that alignment, it throws us off completely. So I'll just leave it at that. That's my experience of being soul.
Yeah, I like it. And I talk about, when I keynote speak about love in business, it's like this taboo word. Soul follows that line. They're kind of on the same freeway in different lanes. Who wants to talk about soul of the business, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
You're back. Go ahead.
we don't bring that to the table and to our consciousness in everything that we do in our relationships with people, whether they're personal, professional, social. And the one constant in every one of those situations is us. We are the constant. And when we don't make it real, it really disturbs the ecosystem, if you will, of all of those environments.
Habits and mindset are part of this as well, aren't they?
I beg your pardon?
Habits and mindset are part of the soul.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our habits, our thinking processes, our feelings and emotions are all part of that.
You have a unique background, and I want you to tell the audience about that and how it got you to where you are today.
Well, it is pretty unique. I have always felt that who I am has been guided by spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, that which has no name, so to speak. I had an experience when I was a child, a download, if you will, from spirit. It was a spiritual awakening, probably between the age of 8 and 10, that I am love. So as a child, it was difficult for me because I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. I didn't have anyone to share that with, that experience that I am that. And yet all around me, I saw pain, I saw anger, fear. And so there was this incongruency, if you will, of the what I experience as being soul and just a being in the world and what I saw in the world. And so my life after that experience was full of turmoil. I felt like it was my responsibility to take on all of the ills of the world, that it was my responsibility to fix the ills of the world. And so I went through my own trials and tribulations of going through life, just like everyone else. And at the point of which my own pain had gotten so profound, I found a teacher to help me move through that and really become full body that experience that I had as a child, but in a more pure and authentic way, because of my life experience had brought me to that point. And so when I began to really embody that love from a more pure place, where I didn't feel I needed to take on the responsibility of changing the world, fixing the world, and everyone in it, because it's literally impossible. Everyone has to do their own work. And I can only be an example of what life could be when one experiences their own true nature of that being love.
You sound like you're a guide. Is that kind of the journey you take your clients through?
Yes,
Walk
absolutely.
us through that. Give us an example of that, what that looks like.
So I've had clients come to me with feelings of overwhelm, feelings of deep anxiety and grief and loss. And I just meet them where they're at. I validate what they're experiencing because that has to come first. And when they can see that they're being met by someone that just purely accepts them where they're at and what they're going through, that in and of itself can feel like a huge relief and release of pain and suffering that they've been dealing with for such a long time. And that's where it begins. And then as they describe the nature of that anxiety, grief, and loss, or depression, whatever the case may be, it again begins to fall away and dissolve a little bit, where the work can really begin, so that they can know that they're not alone. They don't need to be fixed, that they actually are, human beings, that these are conditions of being human, and that they're not abnormal. We have been trained and programmed to feel that there's something wrong with us when we're experiencing anxiety, stress, depression, grief, and loss, and that we have to get over it. And there are no timelines, but knowing how to do that is really important. We don't come into this human existence with a manual on how to be human. And oftentimes we're not brought up in a structure, a family structure, where we're given those tools either. And so how do we learn? How do we learn to be human and be our own unique self at the same time? Find our sense of belonging, of what it means to be here, and how we're supposed to contribute to humanity. These are big things. And when we don't have the answers, we feel that we're inadequate, that we're not enough, that there's something wrong with us. And so all of those things get teased out, those knots get unraveled in the work that I do with people.
So the benefits, somebody gets to that unique human, they find that. What I know people are thinking in this listening, okay, what's the benefit of that when I do reach that or get there?
Yeah. So the benefit is they feel more joy. They feel more authentic. Oftentimes we play these different roles in life. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a business owner. I am a teacher. I am a mother, father, and all the multitude of roles that we play in the world. We identify as that. And so we're fractured. We're in all of these different compartments that are vying for attention. And so what I do with people is to help them become more congruent, so that they can be one whole centered being in any and all situations that they might find themselves in all the roles that they are playing in life, and recognize that, I can be me in this role of executive. I can be this centered being as a mother, a father, a brother, sister. They are that one centered entity in all these different situations, so that they become more congruent and whole.
Powerful message, because we do have multiple IDs, or what somebody called them, multiple personas.
Yes.
I'm a husband, I have a business, entrepreneur. Yeah, and they're all different. That's why I say, balance between business and life. There's no balance. Life's going to be great sometime and business isn't. Sometimes they're both going to be great. Sometimes business is going to be great and life isn't. And that's what you're doing, is trying to balance the scales as much as you can, that they can be authentic in these roles. That's the word they use, roles they play in their life, and some more than others.
That's exactly right.
So this all sounds great. I love what you're saying, but there's one component missing, and that's action. You talk about the importance of completing cycles of action. Let's talk about that.
Well, this is something that so changed my life when I began seeing the world through cycles. And I'm talking about all different kinds of cycles, from the mundane to the internal and spiritual cycles. So for instance, a cycle has a beginning, middle, and end. You wake up in the morning, you put your feet on the ground, you put the covers back over the bed, you've made your bed. That's a cycle. Doing the laundry, you put the clothes in the basket, you take them into the laundry room, you put them in the washing machine. Each one of those tasks is a cycle in and of itself. But the whole task is, you wash the clothes, you take them out of the washing machine, put them in the dryer, you take them out of the dryer, you fold the clothes and put them in the drawer. That is a completed cycle, beginning, middle, and end. And then there are the more obscure cycles, the cycles that we don't see on a day-to-day basis. And those are our emotional, psycho-spiritual, emotional cycles. Cycles from the past, things that keep repeating, patterns that keep repeating over and over in our lives. And so these are the deeper cycles that I help people recognize that they can complete. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Where does that come from? What is the nature of not feeling like you're good enough? And unraveling all of that so that they can begin to see the cycles in that. Everything is multi-layered, and it's like peeling an onion, and each one of those layers of the onion is a cycle.
Good analogy. And it's interesting because that emotional cycle of I'm not good enough, completing by cycle by saying I am good enough, that's what you're saying about completing the cycle. If you leave it unattended and it stays uncompleted, that's where anxiety, stress, grief all come in.
That's exactly right.
It's like opening a door.
Perpetual sense of conflict.
Can this work personally as well as professionally?
It works well. If it's going to work personally, it's going to work professionally, because when we take care of the inner, we take care of the outer. It's simultaneous, because everything that affects the professional is coming from the personal.
Where did you learn all this?
A lot of training, a lot of experience. And I was trained by a Jungian therapist. I don't know if people out there know of Carl Jung. That's what I mean when I speak about a Jungian therapist. And he was trained he's got a master's in social work. He did a lot of community organizing, and so he used a lot of Jungian philosophy and theories, and that's how I was taught. And not only Jungian therapy, Jungian psychology, but also mysticism, metaphysics, philosophy, science. I've had over 20 years experience and training in all of these eclectic doctrines, modalities, systems. And I've been really very fortunate not to have any one particular system to be trained in, because then I can use everything in that toolbox, depending upon who I'm working with, and meet them where they're at. And they resonate with any language that I might be using from these different places.
Can you tell us a story of a client that you work with and their success?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell us the story of one of the clients you work with and the success you did with all this wonderful stuff?
Yes. I recently got a text. This is an ideal story of a success, because when a client texts me out of the blue and lets me know that they have really been applying the tools and the concepts that we have been talking about and cognites on it from her own direct experience, that is the ultimate. And I got a text from a client recently saying that I really understand now how identifying with good or bad,
Mhm.
right or wrong, is very limiting, and that it doesn't reflect the expansive nature of who we really are. And I said, you got it. It was just the most profound experience to have a client come back to me and tell me from her direct experience all the things that we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, that's a great story. I knew you had one. I knew you'd pull one up. This is great. And this works across the board. Let's use professional in any industry. Anybody that's working with themselves
Totally.
or people, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Any particular industries you've seen it work better than others, or is it just straight across the board?
It's straight across the board
Yeah.
because we're human and we bring all of our human experience no matter what industry we're in. Again, I'm always going back to the personal is always the professional is always a reflection of the personal.
Yeah, that's a great reminder because it's true.
Mhm.
It's where they say when you win the lottery, your true, you make a lot of money, your true personality comes out. I mean, you're not doing that, but it's true. I mean, some people are givers and some people are just take the money and blow it, and that's their thing. There's no judgment here, but we're just different people and we're fallible. And you make them less fallible what you do, I would guess, right?
Absolutely. I help them to see and observe all of those things and not to put labels on it as to whether it's good or bad or right or wrong, but just see it for what it is. Because when we can see it and observe it and the reality of it in full bloom, it's then that we have choice. We talk about, this is another big conversation, free will and fate, right?
Yeah, it's big.
Well, my experience is that when I can see something fully as it is, that's the moment in time that I have choice, that I have free will to go this way or that way.
Great.
Otherwise, we're just being pushed from pillar to post and like a tumbleweed.
It just, nothing's happening. It's inaction is probably the best word. Well, we're getting to the end here. Man, that time flew.
Wow.
I know, isn't it crazy? But I'm excited to announce, as I learned about you, you have a quiz. Talk about this quiz people can take.
Oh, I just love this. It's just a self-evaluation. And I hate that word. Let me just back up, re-roll that. It's a self-assessment tool to help them find out where they actually are on their own journey and their own path. And they get instant results in their inbox as to how, it's a kind of like a sliding scale of where they feel they're at on any given statement that they might respond to. And then again, they get the instant results in their inbox. And from that, they have the option to have a phone call with me to discuss all of these things and see where things might wind up for them, whether we work together or not. There are no strings attached. They get to take the assessment, find out where they are on their journey, and they also get to talk to me as an option.
Yeah, as a mentor to help with that. And I love that you're giving something away free that actually brings value. It's not that everybody doesn't bring value, but value is the most important thing, and there's no strings attached. Carol, I want to thank you so much for being on. I've learned a lot. I'm taking notes and I'm trying to look at you, but I got to write this down. I got to write this down. I hope out there you're doing the same thing and writing notes. How can people get a hold of you before we close here?
Yeah, they can contact me at carolpilkington.com or yourfreediscoverycall.com or the quiz, soulfilledlivingquiz.com.
And they'll all be in the show notes. So if you don't get to write it down, take care of it. You can tell she's incredible. She's unique, different, which is okay because not a lot of people does what she does. I've not heard of anybody. I know a lot of people. So that's why I had her on. Plus, it's a servant's heart. When you're going to give out a free quiz and help people, even if they don't pay for it, to me, that's a servant's heart. That's a perfect description of that. And take what Carol said on this podcast. And one of the things I found out a couple of months ago, it's got a forward and reverse button on your podcast, on your little computer, phone, tablet. Well, we'd love for you to watch the whole show. Carol gave us a lot of great tips, but you don't have to. If you want to watch 5 minutes or listen to 5 minutes of it, do it. If it's going to change your life, me and Carol are going to be extremely happy if you've helped you in any way or supported you in any way. And also don't forget about my podcast swag. I've got shirts, t-shirts, hats, logos all over the place, doing business with a servant's heart. That link will be in the chat. And don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Eastern. And as I always say, I want to thank you for watching or listening. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. See you all later.